Hello and welcome to Lord Fenton Gaming Plays Dragon Quest 1. I'm your host Lord Fenton. In this Don't Panic series, the latest game we're going to go ahead and cover is Dragon Quest 1. As always, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more new player guides just like this. Do not forget to hit the notification bell to be updated and more. I'm lost, I don't know what to do. Monsters outside want to kill me. I'm fighting a losing battle. Help! Well, guess what? Don't panic. Help is on the way. With this Dragon Quest 1 new player guide, I'll show you the tricks on how to survive combat, what the stats are, spells, and even some little shortcuts, and plus much more. Now, please note I am playing the Switch version, which is the mobile version. However, this guide will work on all the versions. Now, before I do start the character creation, I'm going to go over two things. Number one, difference between the versions, number one. And number two, I'll go over the translations for those of you who are playing another version besides this one. So let's go ahead and go over the differences between the Dragon Quest games. Let's go over the difference of the Dragon Quest / Dragon Warrior games. First of all, the NES version, it's on a battery back SRAM system. In other words, that's where your saves are at. Your battery runs out, kiss your saves goodbye. Now, also back in the day, in the late 80s, you had to use commands to do stuff like, for example, open a command just to go downstairs or go upstairs, and also search and do anything else. It was annoying, but they did that like that in the day. Now, next up, leveling and gold farming took a lot longer. Just trust me. They made things easier in the next version. Now, as for getting experience points, yeah, that took longer too. Now, next up is the original Mountain Cave dungeon. This is an optional dungeon. It started, I believe, if I remember correctly, in the very original version of Japan, and it was maintained in the NES version. Now, item space next part is limited, so you only can carry one type of armor, one type of weapon, and one type of shield. You cannot carry many of them. That's unfortunate, so you gotta be wise on your inventory space. Same thing with herbs and torches too. Now, next up, hills can slow you down. Yeah, you go into a hill, you move very slow. It was really annoying back in the day playing the NES version, so you get in the battles more often because you're moving like a turtle. Last but not least, this is a fun part. Dragon Quest USA NES version was named Dragon Warrior due to a copyright issue until its return after Dragon Quest 4 was released in the US, back to Dragon Quest, and when it was 7. Yeah, that's right. When it got to 7, the PlayStation 1 version, that's what it was. That's it about the NES version. Also the fun fact too. So let's go ahead and talk about the Game Boy Color version. Let's go ahead and go over the Game Boy Color differences. So first of all, Hero can carry many weapons and armor and shields too. No more 1-1-1. Instead, much as possible. You still gotta manage your inventory. Now, next part is the Mountain Cave. Not only changing name, but it's totally different. I'll touch up on both parts in this guide. Now, as for leveling up and farming gold, it's much more easier. Enemies drop more gold. Enemies give you more experience points. Also, it's easier to level up. In other words, less amount of experience points you need to level up in this version. Now, next part, you can really love one button to use for everything, like, for example, searching, talking, and much more. You can also walk to stairs, no more using a command to go up and down the stairs. Hills, no problem at all for movement. You can move like normal, no more slowing down. Now, here's a fun fact. I decided to add this too. Now, the Game Boy Color version also came with not only one, but two. So you got two games to play. I'm going to go ahead and go over the last version, which is the mobile phones, and of course the Nintendo Switch version. Let's talk about the smartphone, the cell phone, the Nintendo Switch version, aka the mobile phone version. Now, they add a map system in this version. You hit one button, special on Nintendo Switch, the map pops up. You'll be seeing that definitely in this version. I discovered this very recently. Next up, saves are now on the system, not battery. So in other words, it'll be on your Nintendo Switch or your phone. You can still buy this at the Nintendo Switch store, the mobile phone store, and also the PSN Japanese store. No US version. I tried to look. And other than that, that's it for the version. So next part is we're going to talk about the difference between the names for each location, person, or anything else I decided to fit on the list. This next part is just for reference of the 3 different versions and their names. I put that out there so this way, like I said before, if you're playing one of the older versions, and this guy is definitely using the Nintendo Switch version, it's like a translation. I'm using the number 1 for the NES version, 2 for the Game Boy Color version, and 3 for Nintendo Switch / mobile phone version. So I'm going to leave this on this list for a few more seconds. After that, we'll go ahead and talk about character creation and, of course, starting out. It's time to go ahead and create your character, aka create a new adventure log. So when you do start out in Dragon Quest 1, you want to create a log. So we're going to go ahead and name our character. Name your character any character you want. I also heard that if you name them a certain way in, I believe it was the GBA version, you get some extra experience or some extra stuff. Still, just name it once you name it. Now, message speed, keep it at 4 or 5. If you want real slow, go for 6 or 7. 8's too slow. Don't go fast because you're going to need to talk to people and that blows by. Now, music and sound effects, if you want to turn them off, go ahead and do so. Me, I like it on because the music score is great. Once you're done with that, it's time to go in the game. Now, this is what happens when you start out. This is basically you get the start of the quest. It tells you that you're the descendant of a legendary hero. And, of course, you have to go after the Dragon Lord. That's the main quest. The other stuff you have to find out on your own. That's why you have to talk to NPCs like crazy. I'll touch up on that much more in the guide. Once you're done talking to the king, you go grab your loot. Yeah, there's 3 chests. You cannot get out of the room until you get the 3 chests because it contains a key. I'll explain that much better as we go along. Now, as for stats in your menu, this is your equipment. This is your item menu where you, like for example, you get to equip your items or use your items or even throw them away. So as I equip the bamboo stick, this is your status screen. So I'm gonna go over each of them. On the left, that's your level, your current hit points, and your current magic points. HP is hit points. MP is, of course, magic points. Strength, how hard you hit. Agility, how fast you be able to attack. So higher agility means you get to attack first. Resilience, that means higher resilience, more defense. Max hit points, that's the max amount of hit points you have. Max MP, same thing, max amount of magic points. Attack, that means higher attack, more damage you do. More defense, higher the defense, the better it is. And experience points, that's your current experience you do have. Also, your spells, also stats shows your spell screens. As for spells, we cannot use any yet. I'll touch up on that later on in the guide. Now, this is where you also equip your weapons and armor too. If you want to, next part you can use your settings, change your message speed and sound. Also, there's other things too, like hints and tips. I'm not going to go over them. There's also a quick save. If you need to save on the field, that's fine. Other than that, that's your menu. So what we're going to do right now is go ahead and get the chests. Just simply walk to them. That's it. We cannot exit the door until we loot all 3 for a key. You can also talk to the guards too if you want to. Always talk to people. Let's go ahead after I finish this conversation, which they give you nice hints about the inn. We'll open up. So just face the chest, open it up, and that's it. See, we got 120 gold. And we also got a torch. And one more thing we got is a magic key. Now, in the other versions of the game, you had to use the key from the menu. This version, no. You just interact with the door and you're free to go. And we lost the key, unfortunately. It's one use and that's it. Now, for the next part, I'm going to go ahead and explain this. This is going to be very important. Now, you see, early on, there's a NPC that will heal your magic points. Early on in the game, you get a spell called Heal. Now, if you run out of magic points, simply go back to this guy. He does not charge you anything. This is like a free inn if you know how to use it right. So when you are in trouble, you have enough magic points for heal, just heal up. And then when you're out of magic points, talk to this guy unlimited amount of times to get a full set of magic points. That's like saving some gold. Now let's go ahead and talk about the club and cloth versus leather armor when you start out. Now this version, you already got the stick, but still I like to talk this version. Now this game, when you start out, you have choices of what to buy. You're thinking, should I get the club to do more damage, but I'll be stuck with plain clothes? Or go for the bamboo spear and the leather suit. Now, I already got the bamboo spear in this version, so if I wanted to, I could definitely go for the oaken club, or just use the spear and then, of course, use the leather suit. My advice is simple for all 3 versions. Get the oaken club and, of course, the plain clothes. You're asking, why is that, Fenton? Very simple, very easy. You see, reason being is you'll be able to hit a little bit harder against certain enemies, the weak ones at the very start of the game, versus taking extra rounds just to kill a foe. And things can go sideways if you're not careful. You can also go at the shops to buy and sell too. Now, next part, I'm going to show you where you save your game. Saving your game is very important because if you die, well, I'll explain that in a bit. So you go to the king. This is the only spot where you save your game besides using the quick save if you're playing the other versions. The king also tells you how much experience points you need until you level up. So I'm going to advise that save often, save early. Otherwise, yeah, things go sideways. You lose half your gold. And speaking of death, yeah, like I mentioned, you lose half your gold. So just be careful. Get back to the king, but you're going to be less with gold. You can bank it if you want to in the later versions, but still, be careful out there. Let's go ahead and talk about why you should talk to people in town. They'll give you hints. Some of those hints are indirect or direct hints, so talk to everybody no matter what. At least they talk to someone once, so this way you get the information. If it's very important information, as always, write it down or jot it in that memory of yours. So let's talk about the next part. When you do buy weapons and armor from different towns, there's usually better stock, so yeah. Always grind for gold and experience points in this game, especially gold, because you're going to need that stuff to buy some of the better weapons, like for example in the next town. Don't leave an area until you actually get all the weapons and armor that's the best. Now let's talk about cursed items and how to cure them. Now if you get cursed and you go to the castle, you get kicked out. So when you have a cursed item on you, go talk to that older man I talked to, and boom, you should be cured. As for the item shop, it sells various amount of items there. I will put a list after this section with the ends about what type of items there are. So when you start out, if you have enough gold, buy yourself a dragon skill. That's 2 defense. Very early on, it'll help you big time. Stock up on medical herbs, like for example 2 or 3 of them. At least 1 or 2 torches. You're going to need that for dungeons until you get the glow spell. Then you should rely more on magic than torches and herbs. As for ends in the bank, yeah, in the newer versions there's bank. For ends, what happens is you go to an inn at the cost of some amount of gold. You rest up your hit points and your magic points. That's really important, everyone, definitely. And also, if you want in the newer versions, go ahead and use the bank to, store that gold if you need to. And when you do go to inns in different towns, they go up in prices. It's like inflation in this game just went insane. Also, in the newer version, search everywhere, especially like the inn. You might never know what you find. See, there's the deposit and withdrawal. If I want to do that, I don't have any gold, so that's unfortunate. That's basically it for inns, the town, and much more. Next part we're going to go ahead and talk about is the Dragon Quest 1 basic items, and here we go on that part. Now, this next part, I'm not talking about weapons and armor, just items. Weapons and armor, you need to discover that on your own. And let's see here. Let's go over the first one. Dragon skill, hero gains +2 defense when equips. Very good starting item to use. Warrior's ring, certain NPCs in a certain town will talk about you more, give you more options. Other than that, this is just for show. I'll explain where that is at for kicks. Now, holy water, aka fairy water in the older versions. This does is keeps weaker foes away from you on the overworld map. Now, this does not work against stronger foes, and it does not work in dungeons and castles. So, if you need to go somewhere without being harassed into battle, holy water is the way to go. It's just like repel in the Pokemon games. Next up is the medicinal herb. This will heal 15 hit points. Good to have when you're starting out, especially if you don't have the heal spell. Magic key, 1 use key to open up locked doors. There are exactly 3 places where you could get them. And I will definitely reveal only one of the places, but still, these keys are like gold. Hold on to them. Now, next one is torch. It lights up a dungeon. It's a smaller radius than a glow spell, but it's better than nothing. Besides, when you get in dungeons, it's dark, so always carry a torch when you do start out. Last but not least is the Chimera Wings. This does returns you back to the castle where you start out with. So if you need to go back to the castle to save or do other things, well, use these wings. That's about it for the items for Dragon Quest 1. There's other items out there. Do be careful with dungeon items. They may be cursed. Now, there's certain items that are not cursed, certain weapons and armor that's not cursed, so look out for those too. There's also quest items too. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the next section of this guide. This is the world of Dragon Quest 1. This is the entire place of the overworld map. Real quick, I'm going to go ahead and point out some key factors. The glowing squares, that's the place you can get into, dungeons or towns or other stuff. Now, your location, that's where the pen is, that's where you are at. Be careful of the purple, you take damage. And inside castles, be careful of the white and blue wavy lines, you take damage too. Other than that, use this map as a reference. So let's get to the next section of the guide. At times, you will see locked doors like this. Don't worry, don't panic at all. There are 3 places that does sell keys. My advice is when you're really up there in levels, eventually you go to a place called Rimudar. It's hard to pronounce, but I'll tell you location. That is exactly southeast of the castle. Now, when you get there in the town, there's a place to buy keys. It's also the cheapest too, so keep that in mind. So when you're ready to level up, ready to move on, that's the spot where you buy keys. Stock up on 3, which is the maximum amount of keys you can hold. After you're done preparing your character and, of course, exploring the town and castle to get information, it's time to build up our character. The only way to do that is combat. You guessed it. There are no quests in Dragon Quest 1 that gives you experience. No, you gotta do it the old-fashioned way. Get dirty and look for a fight. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to fight. And there we go. We got ourselves in a combat. That's our status there on the left. First of all, attack. That means we attack our foes. Now, spells, if we have any, we get to cast spells. However, they do cost magic points. So be careful on spells if you use it too many times. Now, next up is flee. If you're in trouble, run away. Sometimes you can run, sometimes you cannot. Last but not least is items. That means there's items there for you to use. So, for example, we need to heal ourselves. We got ourselves a nice herb to do so. Let's go ahead and attack this creature. And there we go. We defeated the slime. Because we did that, we just gained ourselves 2 experience points and 4 pieces of gold. So my advice is you want to level up to 3. You're asking, why is that, Fenton? Because once you get to level 3, you're going to start one-shotting foes with the club. And once you do that, you can move on to better places to grind. I'm going to show one more battle, which is a slime, and that should definitely do it. There you go. 1 hit, and it should be gone. Now, since we're done with the battle, I'm going to show you on how to level up. So I'm going to go ahead and grind right now and do just that. After I kill some few foes off screen, I'm about to show you all on how leveling up works. So we'll go ahead and finish off this slime here. It's smiling, it's waiting to die. So when you do get enough experience points from a battle, what happens is you get special music. When this happens, guess what? You just gain a level. And it's about to happen, and there we go. We timed it just right. So we're about to show you all what happens when you level up. Your stats go up. For example, strength will get up by 2, maximum hit points, and you'll obtain 2 pieces of gold. Sometimes you'll get spells too. As always, level up. This is very important. So what I'm going to do right now is go off screen and get to level 3 and show you what happens when you do that. So let's do that now. As I said before, you want to grind around the castle until level 3. Now, once you did, I can move on to better pastures. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the battle that actually got us to level 3. Now, when you do level up, once in a while, you will not only get the stats that normally you get boosted up, but also, you guessed it, you get magic. See, we reached level 3. I'm about to show you what spell we do get. And yeah, I'm going to show you the secret end trick too, which is the perfect time. Now we got magic points, and we got the heal spell. So here's the deal. Since we don't have enough of that, all we need to do is go into the castle and get that refilled. Then cast a heal spell. Then talk to the guy again. That's like a free end, because your magic points get healed, and then you heal yourself with the heal spell. This is a good beginner tactic to use. So this way, you don't have to spend any gold on the ends. Later on, you do have to spend gold on the ends because they're far away from the castle. But still, this is nice to know when you're definitely starting out. See, I just heal myself to full. And all I need to do next is talk to the guy again. And voila, free magic points refilled. Definitely use this method after you level up near the castle area or so. So this way you'll save money on the end. Next part of the guide we're going to talk about is magic spells. Once you do get your first spell, heal, you definitely get to cast that not only outside combat but inside. There are 2 types of spells: field spells and of course combat spells. Some spells like the heal spells are in both categories, while other ones are exclusive, so definitely look out for those. Speaking of magic, I'm gonna go ahead and list all the spells in the game and what they do, and here we go on the list. Here are the spells you could get while leveling in Dragon Quest 1. So first of all, you get the heal spell. This heals 25 to 30 hit points. Can be used inside and outside of combat. This is, aka the hurt spell, if you're playing the older versions, deals 15 through 20 points of damage on a single foe. Combat only. Next up is snooze, aka sleep. Put one foe to sleep. Sometimes it does not work, so be careful on that. Combat only. Now, as for glow, aka radiant, lights a larger light radius in a dungeon that is much better than a torch. Outside combat use only. Now, the fizzle spell, aka the stop spell, stops foes from casting magic. Certain foes in the game loves to cast spells. Use this against them. This is a combat only spell. So let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the magic spells in this game. Next up is the evac spell, aka the outside spell. Exit out of a dungeon or a castle dungeon. Outside combat use only. Really useful spell, so if you're in danger or you're done with a dungeon, cast this spell. Now zoom, aka return, returns to the castle at the starting point of the game. Must be cast outside of use. Otherwise, if you cast it inside of a place, you're going to hit a wall or something. This is outside of combat use only. Really useful to get back to the castle, to see how much experience points you need, or if you need to go ahead and use the magic MP refilling trick. Next up is Holy Protection, the repel spell. Keeps away weaker monsters. Does not work in dungeon. It only works on the outside world. Extremely useful. You don't want to deal with the enemies that you could hit in one shot. Cast this spell. Now, this is outside of combat use only, but still, keep this spell with you at all times. Next up is mid heal, aka heal more. Heals 90 hit points. Can be used inside and outside combat. The best healing spell in the game. You really want to use this a lot towards the end. Now, last but not least is Sizzle. That's the Hurt More spell for those of you playing the older version of the Dragon Quest game. Deals 60 points of damage, combat use only. That is it for all the magic spells in the game, so let's go ahead and get to the next topic of this guide. We're going to go ahead and speak about the dungeons in Dragon Quest 1. With the exception of Erdrick's Cave, dungeons are full of enemies and danger. At times it's full of loot too. And another thing is they're great for getting experience points as well. You definitely want to make sure you have enough levels to go into a dungeon. Well, maybe except for Erdrick's Cave, you go there at 3 the earliest. The best way is level 5, but still. It's a nice place to go to. What we're going to is the desert up north. That's glowing. We're going to go there exactly. You definitely want to hit up this dungeon first because it gives you a very important story information. Otherwise, you're not going to know what's you have to do. As always, make sure you have torches and herbs with you, so this way if there's things are starting to get sideways, use those to heal. Get ready later on when you have the evac spell, aka the outside spell, to use it if your hit points are low. And then of course after that, if you have the zoom spell, use that to return to the castle, so this way you prepare yourself once again. So we're about to go inside. You notice right now it's dark. There's only one light radius or one square. Only way to brighten that light radius is two things. Number one, the torch, and number two, the glow/radiant spell. Now the glow/radiant spell has a better light radius. However, it does wear off after a while. Torch is nice too, and once again wears off after a while too. Now some dungeons does is it gets you down. That's the base of it is. Other times it might be like for example this short. So be prepared for long dungeons. Be prepared for one level dungeons, and also be prepared to go down many floors. We're almost at the goal, and there we go. We're inside Erdrick's Cave, and there's the tablet. This dungeon is very dire to go to because it gives you a nice hint or so. Definitely take your time and read it. A little bit speeding up since this is a new player guide. And there we go. And this is a hint on what we need to do next. So once you're definitely done with the dungeon, you need to come back out where you came from. Unless, of course, like I said before, you have the evac spell, you can use that quickly. Now in this case, we don't have it. We haven't grinded to that level just yet. Since we're done with the tablet, I'll show you all on how to exit the normal way. Instead of magic, of course, since we don't have that just yet. So it's time to go back where you came from. And dungeons like this one's a nice starter one. Later on, you'll face tougher foes. You get some nice gold and such. Definitely remember to loot everything up before moving on. And we're almost there, and there is the stairs. Just simply walk to the stairs unless you play the NES version. Then you have to hit the button to get the menu up and type, then hit the stairs option to go up. And we're almost out of here, and there you go. One last piece of advice. When you're ready, go ahead and explore dungeons and clean it on up. That's it about dungeons. We're going to go ahead and talk about why you should level around here until you're at level 5. After you got your taste of your first dungeon, you want to go ahead and grind around here. You're asking Fenton, why is that? Well, at this time, if you're at level 3, you do not have all the items you could definitely buy and improve your character. So, for instance, I do not have the leather armor, the copper sword, and the leather shield. So you definitely want to keep on grinding to level 5, or at least if you're over 5, until you get all those 3 items. Once you get those 3 items, you're at level 5 or above, you can move to the next area. So I'm going to go ahead and kill this foe, and then skip to my character getting at level 5. So here we go on this part of the guide. Now that I'm level 5, I'm going to go ahead and buy 2 of the 3 equipment. That's all I could afford. Now, if you're like me and you need some more gold, go back to the Erdrick's cave, the one that's north of the castle, and get some more gold by killing foes. So we're going to go ahead and buy the copper sword and a leather suit. Here's the deal. Anything that you get that's new, sell out your old equipment. So this way you get some cash back. I should say gold back. Yeah, this game you got to keep on grinding, get your levels, get your gold, buy some new items, sell some old items. You keep on going with the buying and selling of items every time you get to a new town until at some certain point that you're going to have to start looking for your gear. There's a few items that you have to definitely look for that's the best gear in the game. That I will not spoil. And we're almost done with the shop. Once I am finished with the shop, I'm going to go ahead and do the next part of the guide is a level chart on which areas you definitely do need to go to level up. So let's get that chart out there. Here's my leveling up suggestion on the places you do need to go to. Now, first of all, the castle area where you start out at, level up to 3. Now, around the cave or Erdrick area, level up to 5. Now, when you get to Galen home, when you get the new weapons and armor, level up until it's level 7 or 8, depends on how you feel, and or you get all the weapons and armor in that town. Now, next up, after you go to Galen home at level 7 or 8, and you get the items, go to the bridge south of Galen home and cross it. You want to kill some scorpions there. That's a good place to actually get to 10. After that, you're going to need to go east. And the place that is actually northeast of the castle is a town called Cole. South of that is a desert. You want to face some skeletons. Great place to get to level 12. After you're done with that, go south through the swamp cave around the Remudar area. And that place there will get you the level 14 around the town area. Make sure you buy all the weapons and armor there too, so you can survive. So let's get to the last set of areas you want to level up in as my suggestion. Here are the last set of areas you do need to level up in. So here we go. Now, when you get south of Remudar, there's a south shrine. There you want to level up to 15 to 17. Now here's the deal. There's a special enemy there too. I'll explain later on in the guide. Next up, if you go to the mountains, aka the Craggy Cave, or the south part of the world map, which is actually southwest, level up to 19 or 20. Look for those shadow skeletons. I believe there's some red skeletons there. And if you're lucky, metal slimes. More on that later on. Last but not least, there's 2 locations I'm going to point out. Inside Damrara, the town doesn't look good. You go inside there or around Catlin. That's a town with the walls. Level up to 22 or 24, depends on how you feel. Those 2 areas will definitely get you to level 30. That's it about my level suggestion. I didn't mention the final area of the game. It's a great place to level up, but by then you're ready to beat the game. So next part of this guide we're going to talk about is the mountain cave and the changes that happen in that dungeon between the 2 versions. We're at the location of the mountain cave, aka the Craggy Cave. Now, there's a few changes between the NES version and the latter versions, like the Game Boy Color, and especially this version. I'm playing the Switch version. First of all, the layout got totally changed. Number 1. Number 2, less likely definitely to get a cursed item in the newer version because they sell at 1,200 pieces of gold. And number 3, what's new about the mountain cave is the Warrior's Ring. From the Game Boy version on, it's a new ring you could get. It's optional to get, but still, it's nice to clean up the dungeon in both versions, especially if you're playing the NES version. We could keep on tapping, and if you get lucky, you get the cursed item. So this way, you sell it to a vendor for a lot of gold. So you definitely want to hit the mountain cave until you feel you're too powerful for it. Then you move on south. Next part of the guide is I'm going to show you a place where you can actually get the best gold in the game. Actually, the best monster to kill the gold. So here we go on the location. If you go south of Remudar, there is the South Shrine. Around the South Shrine, that's the best spot to farm gold. As you see before you, there's a bridge there at exactly. You want to cross that bridge. Reason you're asking, why is that? Well, there's one enemy that'll give you tons of gold. So I'm just leave this there for 1-2 more seconds. Then I'll show you on what foes you got to face, which is the gold Nom. I'm skipping the other foes for time saving, but still, our object here is just to get that Nom. So let's go there now. And we're going to bypass 2 battles that I quickly defeated foes in one shot. Now, it might be hard if your character is around the proper level to get some gold. And there we go, we found the gold Nom. Now, Noms have a lot more hit points than some other foes. So you just got to be careful. They tend to hit hard unless you have some good armor on you. So all you need to do is simply attack them with your weapon, and that's it. In this case, my other character at level 26, 2 rounds should finish it off. And there you go. We just won the day. And because of that, we're about to get 6 experience points, which is worthless in this area. However, the gold is 650. Now, in the NES version, that's 200 pieces of gold. Either way, for all versions across the board, this is the best spot to get some gold. You really get that gold, so this way you buy some of the nice weapons and armor and shields in the game real quick. My advice is if you need cash and you're at the level or way above it, tap this spot like crazy. So next part is I'm going to talk about is Metal Slimes and versus the Ruined Town to farm some experience points. So I'm going to go ahead and show that off now. Let's go ahead and talk about the debate between the Ruined Town and the Metal Slimes to fight. Both are good methods, but I'm going to show you method 1, the Metal Slime, or try to show you it and talk about it. So this is the location I'm at for the Metal Slime. It is exactly southwest of the world map. There's a bridge by it. Don't cross the bridge at all. If you do, you face tougher foes. Now you'll face some 2 types of skeletons and a chimera that likes to breathe fire. I skipped all that battle. I just want to show you the Metal Slime. So let's give it a few more seconds, and there we go. Now we're going to look for this Metal Slime. It's usually around these hills, and there we go. Now here's the deal about the Metal Slime. If you kill one in the NES version, that's about 115 experience points. In the other version, especially this version, it's over 700 experience points. Here is the problem. Number 1, they have the best defense in the game, so you always do 1 point of damage. Number 2, they tend to run away. And number 3, they're immune to all magic. So you're going to be seeing a lot of them running away. If you get lucky, that is fine. But the problem is yeah, you're going to see them running away more than you getting experience points. So I'm going to show you right now combat with them at least before talking about the other method, which I do feel that is better. If you want to go for Metal Slimes, that is fine. If you get lucky, that's fine. That's like a lot of experience points you get. Unfortunately, this one ran away and disappeared. We got nothing for it, for time and effort. So for the next part of the guide, we're going to go ahead and go to the Ruined Town. This is where I grind it out on this character in order to beat the game. I decided to cast Holy Protection since most of the foes here are definitely weaker. And just go north where I was at, and this is the town where you want to be in. This is the Ruined Town where you get I believe, the best experience points in the entire game. You could go to the end game area if you want to, but I feel like this is much better since you can kill foes in 1-2 hits. And every time you kill a foe, that's 100 experience points per round. If you go ahead and kill, like I say, 7 or 8 of them, that's about 1 Metal Slime, which is good enough. And you didn't have to waste time of them running away. So there we go. There's a Cosmic Chimera. 1-2 hits, it should die. 1 hit there, and voila. Because of that, we just gain 105 experience points for our effort. So this, I'd probably say, is this Ruined Town is the very best spot in the game to level up your character to 26 to 30. Definitely want to tap this like crazy. If you want to, you could tap it at much earlier levels, but the battles be much more difficult. So that's about it for this part of the video. I'm going to go ahead and talk about some final advice. And here we go on that. Here are some final advice before I do end the video guide. Talk to everybody. If someone requires an item, better remember to write it down. So this way you know where that item's at if you get information from another town folk. Another thing, when you start out, the club and cloth, that's the way to go on all versions. Definitely grind around the castle until 3. Move to the Erdrick's cave, that's the cave with the desert, that's north of the castle, until 5. Once you get all the weapons and armor from the town that's near the castle, move, I'd probably say it's northwest of the castle. There's a town there. Grind around that area until you get the weapons and armor there, and then of course move east to another town that has some nice weapons armor there too. It's a cycle, but it's well worth it. And then when you get to the point you have to look for your weapons and armor and maybe a shield, well, guess what, you're on the right path too. Don't be afraid to stock up on torches and herbs when you first start out. Later on, if you want to, just stock up on torches, or better yet, rely on magic. Hit up the mountain cave. It's fun to explore big time. Remember the town with the cheapest keys. Use that as your base of operations. And one more thing, have fun with this game. It's a fun classic to play. Well, everyone, this is it for my Don't Panic Dragon Quest 1 new player video guide. This is Lord Fenton signing off. Thanks for watching and have a great day or night, and please stay safe. Please subscribe to my channel for more classic and modern gaming content just like this. If you like what you see, then pick my suggestion on the upper left hand corner or YouTube's suggestion on the bottom left hand corner. Have a great day or night, and please stay safe.